Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Clutch Conversations. It's your boy Mike. We back at you one more again, live on a Thursday night. Man, I'm glad everybody's here in the chat. I see the chats jumping. Of course, we got the man, the myth, the legend, Mark Mandic in the building tonight. We're going to get to the show in just a few minutes. It's going to be a good time, so make sure you stick around and catch the whole show. But first and foremost, shout out to my lovely wife, Takara. Man, she's so out this weekend, y'all. I've been telling everybody who I could tell, man. Y'all already know how she held us down this past weekend in Daytona, as she always does. So make sure y'all show her some extra love in the comments tonight. And don't stop there. Be sure to show the channel some love as well. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and Hulk smash that notification bell so you can get notifications each and every time we drop a video here on the channel. Let's take care of some housekeeping. I'm going to try to run through it real fast. It's a lot of information, but y'all make sure y'all pay attention. I'm going to break it all down for you. Make sure you're following us on Morph Market. Check out the animals we post. Give us a follow. Definitely, if you're looking for something in the DG, Hypo, Clown, Pie, or Ultra Male project, feel free to hit me up and see that I got. We will be getting some more animals posted soon. It's almost the end of the month, man, so I got to use my auctions for August as well. So definitely, man, stay tuned to the Herp Collectors Morph Market page. Also, follow us on Instagram at Herp Collectors on the main page, as well as at Clutch Conversations. And check us out on Facebook as well at Herp Collectors. And Clutch Conversations is available on all major podcasting platforms. That's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. Make sure you check us out. And when you're checking us out on your favorite podcasting platform, please be sure to follow, rate, and review. Really appreciate it. Appreciate the support. Speaking of support, if you're involved in this reptile hobby in any shape, form, or fashion, make sure you're supporting US Ark and US Ark Florida. Raised like $117,000 for US Ark at the Daytona auction last weekend, man. It takes money to run this business and protect our rights as reptile keepers is part of the fight. So definitely stand up and fight to protect your rights. And you can start by supporting both these organizations that's helping fight for our rights as reptile keepers. The links for both organizations are in the description below. So the 5-show Reptile Expo live tour, the first stop is done. Daytona is in the books. It was a blast, man. Big shout out to everybody who slid through and checked us out live in Daytona over there in room 2. Big shout out to everybody who checked out the YouTube video, the streaming, the live. Big shout out to everybody who checked us out on the audio podcast as well. Really appreciate it. Next show on the stop is the Southeast Reptile Expo. That's Bob's show on September 14th and 15th in ATL. So make sure you slide through that if you're going to be in the area. If you're not going to be in the area, definitely check out the live show. Right after that, the following weekend, we're going to be in Charlotte for the All-American Reptile and Plant Expo. That's Nick and Troy's show, so that's gonna be real dope too. We're getting some dope guests lined up for both of those shows, and then after that we're gonna round it out with 2 NARBCs. So we're gonna do October Tinley and March Dallas, so definitely make sure you're following that. Speaking of, make sure you show some support, show some love for the sponsor, Gray Rider Reptiles. Each of those show weekends, we're going to be running that special promo code HC20, so you can get 20% off individual shed test orders. You can order one shed or individual sheds, but it has to be the individual sheds. You can't get the discount on the bulk packages, but you can get it on multiple individual shed tests on one single order. So definitely make sure you check that out. 20%. That's promo code HC20. Find Charlie on Instagram or www.shedtesting.com. Got a new announcement. This is fresh off the presses. We now have a new sponsor for the live show tour. Redline Shipping. Big shout out to the homie Robin. Really appreciate it, man. It was great chatting with you this week, man. This is hot off the presses, so y'all the first to hear this. You know, Redline Shipping. They are sponsoring the live show tour as well. Better Off Red. Make sure to use promo code Robin60 to get 60% off your first 2 orders. Better Off Red. Make sure you check out the Retic Rundown kicking off on September 3rd. That's coming at you pretty quick, man. About 2 weeks or so. It's going to be hosted by the homie Chris from the Untamed, Unhinged Reptile podcast. This is the first show on the soft rollout of the Herp Collectors network. So make sure you check that out. And make sure you check out our sponsors, man. We're going to kick these sponsor videos and then we'll be right back. Join KINOVA's Patreon for exclusive content to supercharge your ball python business. Gain insight into a framework that helps you analyze the ball python market, learning from the world's leading ball python designer. Memberships are currently available up to the student tier, a tier that includes a 10% discount on all animals. Not going anywhere for a while? Pay up front for the full year and get a 10% discount on your annual membership. Elevate your game. Join the KINOVA Patreon today. Art comes in many forms. At Armless Angels, it comes to life. In life, success doesn't come to you. You go to it. In this game, forward thinking is the key to innovation and staying relevant. Plan your work and work your plan. Lose yourself in the art. Lose yourself with wetter morphs. Big shout out to the sponsors, man. Y'all make sure y'all show them some love. All the links are in the video description. Let's see who in the chat showing us some love tonight. 352 in the building. What's good? The homie Brian from Heathen Hatchery. The homie Keys, what's good? Appreciate you coming through. Hey, y'all stay tuned. Me and the homie got something real special coming for y'all. What's good, John? More Forge in the building. Matsu Morse, what's good? We got Dwight, the Pie Man, in the building. What's good, homie? Appreciate you coming out. Raj, what's up, homie? Appreciate you coming out. Tim from PMF Exotics in the building. What's good? Bone Daddy Serpents, what's good, Vinny? Appreciate you coming out. The Sultan of Support himself, what's good? Big Bosa in the building. What's good? The big homie Chris, Untamed, Unhinged Reptile Podcast. Also, Retic Rundown, appreciate you coming out. Provider Exotics in the building. The homie man Freddie, what's good? Appreciate you coming out. We got Will's Hella Heat in the building. Big Fred, what's good? MTC Pythons. Hey, it was great meeting you this past weekend, man. I love that we got a chance to connect. So definitely, man, shout out to you, homie. And we got the homie Wiz in the building. Again, what's good, man? It was good rapping with y'all as well, man. Hey, we're going to stop it right there. We're going to kick the intro, and then we'll be right back with the guests.
Baby, won't you listen to me? I got that flavor. I know you're dying to feed. I ain't no dancer, just got some hip in my feet. Now throw your hands up. Ooh, you bring the lighter, I got the fuse. You make a fire, I'll add the fuel. Follow my lady, just watch your shoes. Gotta turn the heat up. This cool.
Who you know who looking like this for real? Who you know who looking like this? Who you know who looking like this
Episode 134, Marcus Jane. How's it going? How's it going?
It's going great. How are you?
Good, good, good. Welcome to the show, man. It's an honor and it's a pleasure.
My pleasure to be here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, beautiful background, man. It was a little bit lighter when we first got backstage. It seems like it's getting dark pretty quick in the background, but yeah, man, nice setup back there. I would spend a lot of time out there myself.
Yeah, it's our kind of happy place back here in the jungle.
So what part of Canada are y'all in?
We're in central Ontario, just about an hour and 50 minutes northeast of Toronto.
Okay.
In the Canada?
I have not. Back in 2022, I was gonna have to go for work, but something came up, and so I didn't get a chance to make it. I was actually really looking forward to it, but definitely want to get up there, like maybe check out the CRB or something like that.
Yeah, that's in I think 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
I
won't make it this year for sure, but one of these times I will make it though.
It's a good time to come up.
Yeah, definitely want to check that out. And it'll be nice, man, because to be honest, I've never been out of the country.
Sorry?
I said, to be honest, I've never been out of the country. So it'll be nice to get out of the country. And that's a good start.
Yeah, it would be good. Yeah. You gotta travel to expand your horizons, you know?
Yeah. I know y'all do a lot of traveling. Like, where all have y'all gone?
Okay, for some reason you're freezing up. Am I freezing up?
A little bit. It's kind of glitching.
I don't know why, but we're in the country, so sometimes we get spotty, internet.
Yeah, it happens sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard me, but I said I know y'all travel quite a bit. So where all have y'all gone, and what's been your favorite spot so far?
Oh boy, a favorite spot. We love Europe, so Portugal, Spain, Italy, Austria, Germany. But Italy is very special because I love the food. Portugal is amazing, really, really amazing place. We love Southeast Asia, so we've done Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand. We've gone down to Bali, Turkey. Turkey's absolutely fantastic. We do the Caribbean, Mexico, Cuba, Dominican Republic. But we've done Africa, so we've done Egypt, Morocco. Morocco was incredible, but nothing beats Egypt when it comes to just the wonder of old things and, old civilizations and old temples and stuff like that. Peru is absolutely fantastic. So my wife is independent travel consultant, so
okay.
I'm fortunate to be able to go on some amazing journeys,
Yeah, that's sweet. Definitely want to get out of the country one day and do some traveling and like see more stuff, expand my horizons. But that's dope, man. That's a lot of places. So essentially all over the world.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm originally from Australia.
Okay.
And my wife is from England, the UK. So we've been to the UK several times, visiting friends and family over there. There's a lot of good breeders over there. But it's a wonderful thing to travel. I always say you can have all the money in the world, but unless you travel, you'll never be rich. And I remember a really good friend of mine years ago really hadn't gone anywhere. And I kept on saying, man, you got to travel, like you got to get out there and see it. Now it seems like every other week he's in another country, and that's Oz from Ozzy Boyd's. And, he's doing really well in exploring other countries and especially other cultures. You know, we get into this North American frame where we go, you know, everybody's like this, but it's not that case. You know, it's not like that at all. And it really opens your eyes to just how amazing other places is. I mean, probably the best airport I've ever been in my life is Turkey, in Turkey, the new airport in Istanbul. It's just mind-boggling how amazing it is. And South Korea has a gorgeous airport. But, you know, there's great things out there. You just got to go out and find them.
What is it about those two airports that make them so nice?
Oh, I mean, just the sheer size and the what? Singapore, yeah, Singapore is pretty off the. My wife's in the background. Singapore is just off the charts as well. I mean, you've got the. I don't know if you've ever seen the video of the big waterfall coming down in the middle of the airport, and it's all surrounded by plants, and it's just otherworldly, you know. Whereas I find North American airports are like, you know, get to the airport, get in a seat, wait to call on your flight, get on the plane and go. In Turkey, for example, it's like going to the best shopping mall you've ever been to in your entire life in the world. You don't even know you're in an airport, right? Until you go to your gate. But like the restaurants and the shopping, not that I'd like to shop, but it's just the sheer number of stores and just the way they're displayed it's mind-boggling. I mean, Google the new airport and go on a tour. I'm sure it's on the internet somewhere, and you'll be blown away. But you know, it's the culture, experiencing other people's culture and stepping into their cultures and, you know, living some of their, you know, the way they live is very rewarding. You know, you grow as a person when you get to do things like that. You know?
Yeah, that sounds really nice. A lot better than our local airports for sure.
Yeah, I've traveled a lot in the United States in airports, and they're airports.
Yeah.
These places are like, you know, when you go into an airport and you're a little tired and you can go to an area where there's leather lounge chairs and it's a quiet zone and you can just sleep if you want, you know, waiting for your next flight, and it's just all organized and it doesn't cost anything. It's just they really think about the passengers, so it's really quite remarkable.
Nice. So give us the rundown on your season, like where you at, how many clutches, some of the stuff you're shooting for, all that good stuff.
Well, it's been an interesting season. It's been a little late. And I'm hearing that from a lot of people that it seems to be late. And I think that's as a result of we had a very mild winter this year. And, you know, that was basically everywhere. And as a result of that, you know, it never really got cold and there was never really that transition or whatever. But, you know, I generally do over 100 clutches a year. And I made a, you know, conscious decision this year to tone it down a little bit. And I said, okay, I'll be happy between 50 and 60 clutches. That's what I want to do. Focus on, you know, certain projects. And I think I'm going to do 65.
Okay.
Right now I've had 65 ovulations. I'm waiting for one more ovulation. So maybe 66, but you always get those clutches that, you know, you get slugs and one or two good eggs, or, you know, so it's worked out pretty good. I mean, the most I did one year was 148.
Oh, wow.
And that almost killed me. I mean, that's, because I do most of the work. And luckily that was during COVID. And my wife wasn't working because nobody was traveling. So she really pitched in and helped me out a lot. So that was good. So yeah, it's really nice and manageable. I think I've got 38 clutches that have hatched so far, so I still got a ways to go. And but yeah, I'm pretty excited because I'm producing some stuff I've never produced before, different projects.
So the decision to cut down this year,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of drove that decision? Was it just because you just really, really wanted to focus? Because I know you mentioned focusing earlier, or did you kind of intentionally not want to produce as much for some other reason?
I intentionally didn't want to produce as much because the market hasn't. Everybody has said the market kind of a downturn after the whole COVID craziness, and I just didn't want to be caught trying to get sell snakes and stuff like that. So I wanted it to be a little bit more manageable.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also getting I'll be turning 68 in February, and I have no desire to retire, but I would like to bring down my collection to a much more manageable state where I could not have to breed as many rats and not have to. I mean, trust me, my favorite thing to do is to get out of bed and go into my snake room and see what's going on. And this year, this time of year is very exciting because you're checking for eggs, you're checking for eggs hatching, you're checking for first sheds, you're checking for the first time they ate, and so on. So it's a great time of year, It's a great.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things I love about this hobby is it's always something to look forward to.
Always. There's nothing, I've tried to come up in my head what would be better. And I mean, trust me, I've tried a lot of things in my life, but this is good because, you can work by yourself. You're not having to deal with the politics of, an office full of people. And so I've been there and it's a nightmare.
Right.
It's half the day is full of stress, at least. This way, there's, there are stresses, there's ups and downs, there's all kinds of things, but there's always something to look forward to. I mean, just around the corner, things change and become, all you need is that one special snake to come out and make your day or your week,
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So, what are you pushing heavy this year, project wise?
I really like. I mean, it's funny. I had this discussion with my wife yesterday, and I said, I want to focus on probably 5 recessive projects, and just really become diversified within those projects, because I think there's still a lot to be done in so many different projects. I mean, I love Desert Ghost. I always have loved Desert Ghost. I think now that they're doing combinations with the clown and whatever, the double hets and triple hets and the triple visuals, it just doesn't get old, and we're just at the beginning of that. I mean, people are going, oh yeah, everybody's got Desert Ghost clowns now, but hey, we've had clowns since the early 2000s, right? And look what Justin did with clowns. I mean, it's crazy. It's still absolutely insane, some of the combinations coming out that aren't even double recessive or triple recessive. They're just, still, the different combinations of genes thrown in there. So it's just, it's endless. So yeah, I just want to focus on, specific projects and go from there. So, me, I love my orange. I love orange. There are some snakes that are orange that I'm not a huge fan of. But sorry, if I'm doing this, it's because there's mosquitoes out.
I totally understand. I had a big fly in here earlier.
Yeah, but I love desert ghosts. I love clowns. I love desert ghost clowns. I love the lavender project. I mean, I hatched out a lavender today that just rocks, when I go and look at it. It just came out of the egg today. Blew my mind. I think puzzle is the next clown. I think there's so much to be done there. I like, the whole hypo piebald super orange dream with stuff thrown on top of it. I have a little known gene called the Java. It's not an expensive gene, but boy, it throws, it just deepens the orange on that. And same as with in lavenders. So yeah, I just like, I had a guy over, a friend of mine over on Tuesday, came up here to see the collection. He's a chef, and I love to cook, so that's what we have a lot in common. We love chefing. And so he came up here, and when you're going around and showing snakes and you open up tubs and their head flies back, you're doing something right, because it just wow, it just smacks you right in the head. You're not expecting it. And it's so hard to do it with pictures or video or stuff like that, because sometimes it just doesn't capture the colors like it should. But yeah, it was really cool getting to show him some stuff. And I'm really still figuring out the whole scrambler gene. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, I've heard you talk about it on a number of occasions, and I've seen some stuff too. But yeah, break it down for us.
Well, it's I kind of call it the do you hear those gunshots?
Is that what that is? I heard it, but I didn't realize it was gunshots.
Yeah, you're not going to hear sirens. It's my buddy out. He's got 10 acres off that way, and for some reason he loves shooting this time of night.
Okay.
I don't know. Target shooting in the dark. Maybe he's got a laser sight. Who knows? Anyways, it should end soon. So the scrambler, I was producing all these really interesting morphs that were incredibly bright. And not only were they incredibly bright, as they aged, they got brighter. And, we all know that, originally in the ball python hobby, everybody was looking for that morph that maintained the brightness as it did as a hatchling. I mean, luckily for us, we sell most of our snakes, talking all of us, all the breeders, as hatchlings when they look the best. But you check in on them 3 years from now and they don't look near as good. They've dulled out, they've whatever. Well, this gene seems to just get better with age. And so I was trying to narrow it down. And as it turned out, I had quite a few of the gene in my collection because it originated from a super orange dream fire that I traced it back to 2011. 11 or 2000 2011. It was I got a nice mail from Oz.
Okay.
And it was a super, very, very bright super orange dream fire. And, you know, Oz and I, we've been friends since the early 2000s. I think 2002 we met. And so I always had an inside scoop. You know, he would send me pictures, and I said, okay, this was from one of the first Super Orange Dream clutches he produced. And so that male carried the gene, and he was highly reduced. And that's another thing about the scrambler gene, is it really reduces the pattern on everything, especially in the last third of the snake. So things started coming out that I was, you know, just shaking my head on, especially in the piebalds and the Super Orange Dream piebalds, and the Super Orange Dream hypo piebalds. Like their pattern was all like they were very, very low white and very scrambled pattern, not your typical stripy, you know, striped back pies. And so I had a few of them, and I ended up selling one to a friend, Matt Pistone. And I said to Matt, I said, you can pick one of the two snakes. And I said, now there's something going on here. And keep an eye out, because I think we have a new gene here. So he was sending me pictures of what he was producing, and I was producing that as well. And the same day, we ended up producing a snake. Both of them were identical, and they were just off the charts. And so it's a really exciting gene, because I believe what it does is it just enhances the brightness of the genes that are in existence, and they do not go backwards. You know, they stay looking amazing and get better with age. So
that's a big plus, getting better with age, because to your point, yeah, a lot of them do dull out or brown out and stuff like that. So it's really cool to have those big snakes that look like just as good as when you bought them, or even better. I definitely got a few of those in my collection. It was like, wow, you just love opening that tub, because you're so amazed and just awed with how nice it looks.
And it also, I mean, the pattern, you know how sometimes the pattern within the yellow, it'll become very murky and almost freckly. It's almost like it's like a desert ghost, like a clean desert ghost. And when I show people some of the mutations when they come over, I go, oh, that's a desert ghost. I said, no, it's not a desert ghost. It's a scrambler. You know, no desert ghosts in here whatsoever. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. So, and there's a lot of guys now that had it, because I saw some like Chris Hernan, for example. He was posting some pictures on Instagram. So I contacted him and I said, hey, Chris, where'd you get your snake? You know, give me the background to it. And he ended up getting it from Tom Barnard, like his Orange Dreams. And Tom got his from Oz. So it was obviously in Tom's collection and moved up into Chris's collection. So, you know, I don't know if you saw the snake he posted last week that just came out of the egg.
Yeah, he showed it to me in Daytona, because I got a chance to meet him in person. Okay. He was on the show a few weeks back, but got a chance to meet him in person Friday of last week, and he showed me that one. It was nuts.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
You know, like that just, yeah, he wins the prize for the most orange snake. So absolutely. You know,
that was definitely the most orange snake that I've ever seen.
Now, had it shed out by the time it got to Daytona?
I didn't see it in person. He just had it on the video.
Okay. All right.
So he did show some of his like other high OD stuff, or that dark line OD. I forget exactly what he calls it, but he showed some of that stuff, like some that had like calico in it, some stuff that had yellow belly in it, and it was really, really nice.
Yeah, it works extremely well with Super Orange Dream calico. and Super Orange Dream Calico Fire. Those genes are crazy. And obviously with hypo, with pieds, not a big, I mean, I like it in Enchi. I've produced some Enchi stuff that's just totally on fire. But yeah, it's pretty insane. So yeah, that's what I'm excited about, that kind of thing, you know, because you love seeing that progression, right? You love getting that, gee, I wonder, there's something going on here. I mean, there's a lot of people that have these, you know, genes that they're working with, dinkers or whatever, and they're going, well, you know, what's going on here? And then to see it and finally prove it out, it's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, big shout out to Reforming Genetics. It's Deep Orange Line is what he calls it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really, really, really nice. So is there a super form to it?
Chris said, you know, I think this is a super. It might be the first super. And I produced one in 2022, I believe it was, and that I thought was a super. And it was basically a Super Orange Dream hypo super scrambler, and grew him up, bred him this year. I've got 2 clutches from him so far that have hatched, and everything that's come out is a scrambler.
Okay.
So I think he is a super. It's on my Instagram page somewhere. That he's just all orange.
Yeah, definitely have to check that out.
Mm-hmm.
And so you are like retooling your collection too, right?
Well, I always, you know, I had this discussion with Oz yesterday. I said, Oz, you know, every time you post something, you inspire me, but at the same time, I feel deflated because we started at the same time, and I just feel he's really gone ahead in so many different projects. And my biggest mistake was I was a firm believer that in order to make a reputation for yourself, you had to sell the best stuff you had to people, because those people would in turn promote you, show those snakes and promote you. So, you know, it wasn't too long ago where, you know, I only had 2 clowns in my collection, you know, 2 females and so on. I said, you know, basically when I turned, you know, 65, I said, okay, let's get serious. I'm only going to do this probably till I'm 75. That's my goal. So I wanted to completely build a new collection with all the new genes and that I wanted, you know, the incomplete dominance, the dominant genes, with the recessives. So, you know, because you don't want to feel like you're becoming, you know, irrelevant, right? You want to stay relevant. That's the hardest thing to do in this hobby, is to stay relevant. And the only way you can stay relevant is through what you produce. You can have you can have all the flashy Instagram and YouTube videos and all blah, 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 but your snakes will do the talking for you. You know?
Right.
You know, it's so I want to, you know, really disprove the irrelevance of, you know, you've been in this for a long time. There's other, I want to stay relevant, and my snakes will do that for me. Yeah. Plus it's so exciting thinking of the different projects and the different combinations, you know. It's a lot like cooking. Right?
Oh yeah.
If you you know, if you like to cook at all, it's, you know, taking all these different ingredients and looking at all the possibilities, and, you know, a little of this and a little of that and so on. It's pretty exciting. Yeah.
So with the retool, was it primarily stuff that was already in your collection, or did you go out and pick up a bunch of stuff? Like, what did that thought process look like? And did you sell a bunch of animals that you weren't going to be using anymore.
Oh yeah, yeah. I most of my animals go overseas. Most of my animals go to Japan.
Okay.
And I have, a wholesaler over there that likes to buy my stuff, and I'm very fortunate. We've had a great working relationship for many, many years. But I did go out and I bought some new jeans, within jeans that I already had. So I reached out to Bob Vu last year. I bought a Desert Ghost Enchi Pastel Stranger Clown that was mind-boggling beautiful. I mean, just without it being a clown. I like the Ranger jeans, so I went for that. And he started breeding for me. I've already, I think, got 3 clutches out, and some of the stuff's just crazy beautiful. I bought a really high-end lavender male from Justin, because I have both toffee or candy.
Okay.
Same gene, and they're really, really beautiful, but they just, for some reason, they get more beautiful with age, whereas lavenders come out screaming hot, out of the egg. Like, they're insane. So I bought a really, really nice male from Justin. He won't be breeding this year. He'll probably breed a year from now. I don't like to rush the males unless, they get up to size and they like to visit with the girls.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I held back quite a few really nice potential breeders. So, and of course, I'm always upgrading from Oz. I bought a couple of puzzles from Oz, vanilla. I think they were Super Orange Dream vanilla puzzles, and they're really hot. I love the way vanilla reacts with pastel. I have a lot of pastel in my collection. I know a lot of people don't like pastel anymore, but it would be like me cooking a meal without adding salt. It's a cheap gene, but it just does so much, especially with, Desert Ghost. Not as much with clowns. Don't like any kind of a Desert Ghost. It does incredibly well, and with Stranger and stuff like that. So, yeah, I went out and bought a few nice snakes, but
Gotcha.
most of the growth came from within. It did. Yeah,
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So going backwards a little bit, a few minutes ago, you mentioned that you were kind of the mindset where you got to sell your best stuff. So did someone like tell you that, or was that just kind of how you were thinking? And then also, what led to you kind of changing your mindset, and how long did that take?
It took me over 20 years to figure out not to do it. I don't know. I feel that when people, your best promotion is a satisfied customer. They're going to go out there and show what they bought from you and brag about it and so on and so on. And, you can't put a value on making somebody incredibly happy.
Right.
And if you get the reputation of, oh yeah, he's keeping all the good stuff for himself and not, he's just selling the stuff he doesn't want to keep, that you'll get that reputation, and that's hard to shake off. So I just feel that if you're going to create a customer base, you have to always exceed their expectations. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I was talking with Robin the other day, and he wanted me to make sure that I asked you about this. So he's super impressed like with your branding and stuff like that, and kind of like you being a pioneer and kind of making sure like your branding was on point, consistent and stuff like that. So what led to that mindset, and talk about some of the stuff you did early on to kind of set yourself apart from a branding perspective?
Oh, that's that's a good question. I think I was always in some form of advertising and marketing. That was my background.
Okay.
Um, I used to be in the publishing business, so branding is so important. For advertisers and so on, and you always recognize the ones that have great branding and the ones that don't. And if anything, I probably tried to model myself more after companies like Apple. It was just so simple.
Mm-hmm.
The logo I went and had a professional logo done, and the guy I had it done with actually did some work with Coca-Cola.
Oh, nice.
And I explained to him what I wanted. I said, I want it to be a snake, but I don't want it to be a snake. I I don't want anything with fangs or whatever. I just want it to be a symbol, and that was the first logo he came up with. It was revamped, I think, in 1995. Pretty sure, to the orange, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just simple. The thing is, a brand. Do you know where a brand originates from?
Where's that?
Well, you tell me. Where do you think a brand comes from?
You mean like the term brand or just any
Yeah,
individual's brand? Oh, the term brand,
yeah,
like from branding animals and stuff like that.
exactly.
Yeah.
When cattle used to be branded, horses used to be branded because there were no fences, right? So they'd just be out there, and people would see the cattle, and they'd look at a brand and go, "That belongs to Chisholm Ranch or King Ranch or whatever." You look at the King Ranch logo, and it's very similar. Actually, it looks kind of like a snake, but it should be instantly recognizable.
Right.
And I went with the color orange because orange to me represents the color that we're most familiar with, because orange is the foundation color of fire, and we never get tired of sitting around the fire and just staring into the fire, and because it's the oldest thing we know. So I went with the orange for that reason. It's a strong color, and I just wanted it to be very simple. Marcus Jane is a combination of my name and my wife's name. And I went with Marcus because it almost sounds like a designer,
Yeah.
Marcus Jane, right? And I thought, well, it's a bit of a different twist to it instead of, Mark Mandic's ball pythons. So yeah, that's what I went with, and kept everything clean, super, super clean. And I made a very conscious effort through my first website and my second website was to teach people, to share my knowledge. There was no Patreon. I still don't have Patreon, but I did the breeding page so people could learn how to breed ball pythons. There was just so much, explanation about genetics and so on, for a place to go and learn. And when you learn, that's a good thing, right? So I made a conscious decision to do that. I think when you said Robin, you're talking about Robin Markland.
Yeah. Robin Markland.
Yeah, yeah. He came up to Canada when I launched my new booth, and yeah, he was absolutely blown away by it. I've changed it all since. I did a redesign last year
Mm-hmm.
that I did at CRBE. It'll be the same this year, but yeah, I'm a firm believer that if people walk by, even if they're not going to buy a snake, they're going to remember you.
Right.
Right. at least that. I want that in the, in the minimum is for
And I
them.
feel like the simpler the design, the easier it is for them to remember.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Less is more. I'm from the school of less is more. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I don't like cramming things in and cramming a message in and having, banners that people have to sit there for a minute and read. No, I want an instant impression. And every banner is an instant impression. The logo, you know who I am. Every snake that you lay your eyes on will be an instant impression. Whether you are buying a snake or not buying a snake, whether you're interested or not interested, I want to have at least some impact,
And so much stuff in this industry is driven by like having eye-catching things, particularly the animals, right? Because that's how people remember you. That's how you get people like engaged and saying, hey, such and such produced this, such and such produced that, is if you've got some eye-catching that's going to pull people towards you.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I don't, there's all kinds of snakes you can bring and sell that are inexpensive, hets and so on. I only bring every single snake, and like for the CRBE, I'm bringing 81 snakes, but I've got a 30-foot booth. So I like to spread things out so it's spacious, and I want every compartment to have a snake in it that blows your mind. That's my goal.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. Like a few months back, I had some family over and we were showing them like some of the snakes, and I purposefully only pulled out like the eye-catching snakes. Like I had like some double heads and triple heads and stuff like that I know that, hey, this snake has like a lot of breeding potential. This is a powerful animal. But to the average person, they either don't know it, or just because they're not in the breeding aspect of it necessarily, they're not going to appreciate like kind of like all of that nuance. And so my purpose was to like wow them. And so I pulled out like just the brightest, like the craziest looking things that would just immediately stand out to them, pop, and make them say, wow.
Yeah. I mean, if you have to tell them why this snake is so special, then it's not that special. Right? Like you want the snake to talk for itself.
Yeah, you're making it plain there. Make it plain.
Yeah, and look, that's not saying that there's all kinds of snakes that are carrying these genes that are great tools to make something fantastic, and they might not look that great right now, but the potential they have in creating something, that's great.
100%.
People aren't going to talk about those. They're not going to remember those snakes. They're going to remember the ones that just pop them in the head, And
you pull out a pod like and show the average person who's not that familiar with it, knocks them off their feet.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But then you bring out a super orange dream, yellow belly, Javapide, and that's otherworldly. They're like, no, that's not real, right? That's AI. Not with AI. No. We don't need AI in this industry. We've got the real deal, and the potential to make so much more. I mean, when you think we've reached the top, look up. We got a long way to go.
Yeah, big facts. Hey, we're gonna take a real quick commercial break, and we'll be right back after these messages.
All right.
Known for his innovative approach to genetic shed testing and top quality ball pythons, Grey Rider Reptiles also excels in exceptional customer service and responsiveness. With a quick turnaround time, Charlie ensures you get the service you want and need. Visit shedtesting.com to explore his offerings and experience the best in the business. Don't miss out. Head to shedtesting.com today and unlock the power of your breeding projects.
and love, family. We invite you into the heart of our serenity, Ancestral Royal Pythons. At Ancestral Royal Pythons, we're not just breeders, we're nurturers of love and growth. Each of our high-end ball pythons is a tribute to the grandeur of the natural world and our dedication to quality. Reach out today and bring one of our creations into your home. This is Ancestral Royal Pythons. Your journey begins here.
Here's to the exciting world of Ebony and Ivory reptiles. From unforgettable parties and events to keeping and hatching some of the dopest reptiles in the reptile hobby, we're all about education, quality, integrity, and respect. Hit us up and see how we can help make your next project a reality. Experience Ebony and Ivory reptiles, where fascination meets fun.
Ebony and Ivory reptiles.
Appreciate all the sponsors, man. Y'all make sure y'all go show them some love, man. All the links are in the description of this video. So, Mark, you mentioned Ozzy a couple times earlier. Can you speak to like that relationship, how it started, and maybe tell us some cool stories about some times you and Ozzy hung out?
Okay. I just want to answer Mission Morphs here. It says you're looking to put Java and Scrambler together for a more orange snake. One of my most orange snakes right now is Super Orange Dream Hypo Piebald Java Scrambler. It's insane. I mean, the guy I showed it to the other day, I think he's got a neck brace on right now. Because he was like, come on, you know, one of those deals, like really. And he'll be breeding for me this year, so I'm really, really excited about that boy. Definitely in my collection right now, he is probably my favorite all-time snake. So yeah, definitely Java. And the nice thing about Java is, you know, you've got your darker snakes, your chocolates and your mochas and your mahoganies and so on, but they all have a super form that is a pattern change. Yeah. Whereas a super Java is just a darker, crisper Java and rich. And I'm just really excited about, you know, what that gene is doing. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's on my Instagram page. I think I have it pictured with two other hatchlings from this year. It's a bigger snake, and then the two hatchlings are there. So yeah, go check it out.
Yeah, definitely gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, what was the question? Oh, with Ozzy.
Yeah, with Ozzy.
So years ago, and I'm gonna say it was probably the first Tinley Park. I went down there, and I had been going to Daytona because there wasn't a Tinley Park at that point, and became friends with Brian Barczyk, and I bought some snakes from Brian Barczyk. And you know, how can you not like Brian Barczyk? I mean, he was the guy, you know. And back then there were a lot of, you know, names in the industry, but Brian was the most approachable, and he was also the most humble individuals, you know. And I bought some really nice snakes. That's where I got my my first blade clown, and discovered the blade gene within the clown and so on. But anyways, he used to we used to all go out in big groups for dinner, and I'm talking, you know, 30 people or so. And we went out to this steakhouse in Chicago. It was just in Tinley Park somewhere. And we all sat down at this table. I'm sitting there, and the guy beside me, he's like, man, I want a steak. I don't know what kind of steak I should get. And I said to him, get the ribeye. And he said, the ribeye? Why would I get the ribeye when I can get a filet mignon or whatever? And I said, well, the ribeye has actually got more flavor than the filet mignon. Filet mignon is more a steak. Women love filet mignons for some reason. I think because they're tender and they're easy to cut and whatever. So anyways, he ended up getting this ribeye, and he said, man, this is the best steak ever. And I said to him, look, you got to get it medium rare. Don't even think about getting it over medium rare. And he said, steak, man, thanks so much. And that was Oz. And I remember we started talking about TV shows we watched. I think we brought up Deadwood or whatever, and we just hit it off. And we've been friends ever since. I mean, I'm probably talked to Oz, 3-4 times a week on the phone. We don't text each other. We don't message each other. We pick up the phone, we call each other, and we talk about everything. We talk about travel, we talk about snakes, we talk about, things, motivation, we motivate each other. And he's one of the most real, individuals I've ever met in my life. And, probably one of the best friends I've ever had in my life. He's just that great. And he has great vision, and he's not afraid to try things. And, in things in the snakes and other things. But yeah, look, he doesn't do shows anymore and whatever, but whenever you're talking about the top breeders and the top snakes that are being produced day in and day out, as far as snakes that actually, really hit you hard, Oz is, him and Justin, I would say, are the two. No offense to anybody else, there are some great snakes, but as far as sheer numbers and snakes that just get better and better and better, Oz is the guy. So he's been up here several times and stayed here, and we've cooked some good food, gone to Toronto and bought some good food, and so yeah, it's great times.
Yeah, relationships are like super important in developing people. I mean, developing relationships with people that you can trust and you just feel comfortable being around. I don't know if I like consciously thought about like what relationships that would kind of like evolve over like the course of doing this. I don't know that I specifically had like that conscious thought, but I know in other kind of ventures in life and stuff like that, like I've become like really close with people and stuff like that. So no reason this would be like any different, but I know just coming into like snakes, like I've developed like some friendships with some really good people, and that makes it even more fun. So not only are you working with these cool animals, not only are you doing something that you're passionate about, that's a lot of fun for you, but you also got some like-minded people that are just as excited as you. And so that just makes it all that much better. Who are some other folks that that you've like really grown close to over the years?
Well, Will Morose and I are close, and we live close to each other. Jordan from JP Reptiles, Scott Wilkinson from UK, Antoine from DPR, and Brian from MBK. Dean Mass, Christian Jorgensen from Morphendorphins. There's a lot of really quality people. Mike Bennett from MB Reptiles? NBR. Mike Bennett. He produces some beautiful stuff. But I find, as a society, we've become very tribal, where we now, because of the internet, it's easier to find our people. Okay. And look, we all want to be able to talk about what we're truly passionate about. Right. And if I drove into the, closest city to me and went into a bar and started talking to people, I wouldn't find anybody that is interested in what I'm interested in relation to snakes, but the internet has allowed us to be able to find our people, find people that understand our language, because we do speak a different language.
Right.
Right. And I mean, if we just rattle off all these genes that we're working with, people would look at us sideways, like, what the hell are you talking about? So it's allowed us to, find people that we can have in-depth discussions with and feel good about it, right? Just like we're kind of doing now, right?
Absolutely.
So I think that's been really, really good. And you can have relationships all over the world with people. They don't have to be in your neighborhood. I mean, you go back 100 years, it was who was in your neighborhood and who went to your church. That's who you socialized with.
Right.
If you were in a farming community, that's where y'all gathered as a community, and no, I am not a religious person at all, but I do believe in community. And I think, whatever floats your boat, whether it's your faith in something that you want to discuss or whether it's snakes, but I can almost assure you that if I went into my local church and started talking snakes, it wouldn't go over very well, for obvious reasons, right?
Right.
I still want to know how that snake handed Eve the apple if he didn't have any arms or legs,
Right.
Anyway, but it's fun. And I mean, I have other interests as well. I love music. I love talking about music. I'm not a musician, but I do like good music and talking about music and so on. So, I belong to several groups on Facebook that you can talk about these things and people actually know what you're talking about. Right. So I think it's a very good thing.
You mentioned earlier about being into cooking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that just been something you've always been interested in, or did you like go to like a chef school or something like that?
No, never went to a chef school. I've taken different. I've cooked with many chefs and learned from them. I take every opportunity, and I mean, when you're in a remote village in Thailand and you want to learn how to cook something authentically, you get to know the cook and you get to talk your way into the kitchen and you learn how to do certain things, and it's pretty amazing, But I've always been interested in cooking. I started cooking probably when I was 5 years old. Now I'm teaching my grandson how to cook. He's 3. And
Nice.
He's way ahead of where I was at 3, but he, food is an amazing thing if you know how to do it right, use the right ingredients. I grow most of my ingredients as far as, vegetables and things like that to get the right flavors, real flavors, not that shit you buy at grocery stores, the hydroponic tomatoes and stuff like that taste like nothing. They look good, they taste like nothing.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff, it's different now. Like when I was growing up, stuff we got from the grocery store like tasted like food. Like nowadays, like the fruit and stuff like that, like even watermelons, like it's so hard to find like watermelons with seeds in them and stuff like that. It's just crazy. Like what they're doing in the lab is not the same product. So I agree with you 100% on getting like real food.
Well, what they want to do, again, they want to produce something that looks good and you'll buy it. I mean, the tomatoes look perfect, and I'm using tomatoes as an example. And you buy this tomato and it's perfectly round and it's not bruised, it's got no blemishes or whatever, and it is red, but when you taste it, there's nothing there. It's like water. And I had, this week I had my friend come up, and I grow all my own tomatoes. I take a lot of pride in my tomatoes because they're just full of flavor, and they're actually grown in the sun in real soil. I use rat shit as my fertilizer. It's amazing what you can grow. And he was absolutely, and this was my chef friend, and he was just absolutely blown away, because even in restaurants they don't get that quality of food, right? Because they have to buy in bulk.
Yeah.
It's really sad. It's really a shame, you know. But little by little, I'm educating people. You know.
Nice.
Yeah.
So a few months back, I had an episode of the show where like there was like 3 breeders from Canada. So it was Antoine, it was Nicole, and then it was Peter.
Yes.
And so I asked them to like shout out some people from Canada who like they want to like show love to, and all 3 of them like unanimously said your name and had like some sort of anecdote or story or something about like how you've done something like positive to them during their breeding journey. And I hear that not just from them, but I hear that from like people all the time. Like everyone has like such good things to say about you, and so that's good. And so I can tell with consistent responses like that, like you're a good dude. So how does it make you feel that people like look up to you and view you as a pioneer in the game, and they can just go around and speak to like the positive impact that you've had on their journey within this hobby that we all love?
I feel very privileged, you know, that they feel that way. But like everything, we have a very brief opportunity to have an impact in people's lives. And if you're going to have an impact, have a positive impact, and have one that's memorable. And, you know, so I mean, I remember, you know, the interactions I had with all 3 of them the first time that I met them. And honestly, I had no idea that they were like, you know, I'm sitting here with Aussie Boys and Marcus Jane, you know, to me, you know, I'm very humbled by that. And I feel honored, you know, that that's the way people feel. But, you know, if I'm going to do something in this life, I want to leave a positive stamp, you know, and do something that could change that person's life in a positive way. Because if you do that, they will in turn do that. There's a very good chance they will do that. And, you know, life is not about what I can get from this person. Life is about what I can give to this person to make their life better, and in turn make my life better. When you do something nice, you never feel bad about it, ever. You always feel good about it. When you do something that's shit, you do feel bad about it. I don't want to feel bad. I want to feel good. You know, I want to wake up and know I don't have people out there hating on me. And I'm sure there are people out there that are hating on me, but they don't know me, you know. But the people that I do come in contact with, I want to, again, exceed their expectations, because you know what? I met people in my lifetime that were my heroes, and they ended up being not very nice people. You know, you can't let your ego get ahead of you, because it means nothing. At the end of the day, it means nothing. But, you know, if you can leave a mark, a positive mark, then you've accomplished something. You know?
Yeah, and I like your comment too. You do something positive for them, and then they'll in turn likely do something positive for other people, and that just has a compounding impact across like all walks of life. Like wherever that positivity is at, like it's just snowballing. So that's real cool.
Yeah, and you know, there's I don't have time for insincerity and I just don't have time for it. I just want to, this is me, and hope you like me,
Get what you get.
Here are my snakes. Here's a box of Kleenex for when you're drooling.
Nice. So, having been in the game for a minute, what are some of the things from when you started that are kind of going on right now? What are some of the things that surprised you?
Well, what surprised me is just how big this hobby business has become. I mean, I would have never dreamt that people would be, having careers like they have been, what they've achieved in this hobby. I mean, when I got in, I walked into my first reptile show in January of 2000.
Mm-hmm.
And, I said, "You got any ball pythons?" I walked up and said, "You got any ball pythons?" "No, man, I don't have any ball pythons." "What do you want ball pythons for?" "Ball pythons, it's done. Like the bubble has burst on ball pythons." That's what I was told. I went up to other booth. "You got any ball pythons?" "No, man, what do you want ball pythons for?" Like, shit, that's over, right? That was 2000. And, there's so many people that are disbelievers. You just got to believe. You got to have that faith, right? You got to have that perseverance, the passion, and just keep moving forward. And, there's many stories I can tell that are relative to life that just prove how few of us do keep moving forward, do keep believing, and and do have the same passion, to keep going. And my favorite story, we were in Peru. Are you familiar with Machu Picchu?
I've heard of it, but I'm not that familiar with it. I'm not gonna even lie.
Well, Machu Picchu is like the place to go in Peru. It's a old, civilization up in the mountains and everything like that. But before we went there, we went to this other area that was all these old ruins, and there was just buses and cars and everything. People lined up to go and see these ruins. And all these people would come and they'd look, they'd take their picture, and they'd go back in the bus, and off they'd go. And my wife and I were there with a guide, and we said, "Is there anything else we can see?" And he says, "Oh yeah, well, there's a trail you can take, and you can walk down. There's all these other ruins, and you walk through these communities or whatever." And we did that, and it was part of the Inca Trail, and we stood off in the distance looking back at thousands of people looking at these ruins. And I said to my guide, I said, "You see that?" And I said, this is life. This is a good example of life." And he said, "How's that?" I said, "Well, look at us and look around. There's nobody here, but we're about to embark on a journey that all these other people could do the same thing, but they can't be bothered. They want to take the easy route. They want to walk up, take a picture, get back in their bus, and go back to their hotel." And to this day, it was probably one of the most amazing hikes I've ever been on. And, had we been like everybody else, we'd never experienced that. And it's the same thing in snakes, what we're doing. It's always looking forward. It's always looking for that next trail to take that'll lead to some of the best views you've ever experienced in your life. You just have to have the imagination in this hobby, the vision. You need the vision, and things will happen for you. And then people will notice you because they'll notice that snake and they'll go, who produced that? And people will talk about you. You know, more people are talking about Chris Herndon right now than they ever have because of that orange snake. You know, so
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely I was talking about it a lot. Like it's probably the first snake I told people about.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And for good reason. No gimmicks, no nothing. Just here's a snake. You didn't even see Chris. Right. It wasn't like, here it is, you know. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
He pulled it out and showed it to me. I was just wowed. And then as soon as I was talking to people, I was like, man, you got to go over there to Chris's table, see the stuff he's got on his table, and you got to see that snake he produced if you hadn't seen it already. It was nuts, insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So what are your predictions for where the market's going to go next, or where the hobby's going to go next?
Well, you know, when we first started in the early 2000s, there were a lot of really expensive snakes. I mean, like piebalds were going for 25,000, pinstripes were going for 25,000. You know, Barczyk had a waiting list for pinstripes. Spiders were going for 25,000 and so on. And that was just a single gene snake. That was not a combination.
Right.
That was just one gene. And I never thought I'd see, the prices that we saw in the last 5 years ever again, But again, there were a lot of people or a few people that were brave enough to say, no, this is what this snake is worth. You want to make these? This is what this snake is worth, and so on and so on. And I mean, last I bought that snake from Bob Vu, who I think is one of the best guys in the industry today. Bob,
Thanks.
I think I paid 12,000 US for that snake. In Canadian, that's about 16,000 Canadian. It's not cheap, but I thought it was worth it. And, as soon as he posted it, I bought it. And I still think it was one of the best decisions I ever made. I think you're going to see a lot of people who jumped in, jump out. Because the one thing people grossly underestimate is the cost associated with doing it and the work associated with doing it. It's not a matter of just put them together, they breed, and people call you up and say, have they hatched out yet? Here's some money. You got to work at it, right?
It didn't work like that.
No. I wish, almost, but I think you're going to see all those people that jumped in, they're going to jump out, and all the people that are truly, truly dedicated and have that vision and whatever, it's going to do quite well, very well. I mean, there are how many billion people in this world? And I guarantee you 99.9% of them have never seen one of our designer morphs.
Right.
We got a lot of people,
a
lot of people we can reach. And, when I first got in, my thinking was, okay, people are going to own dogs, they're going to own cats. They might own horses. I mean, I've owned enough horses, trust me. But, snakes, they'll never wake you up. They don't make noise. You feed them once a week. You want to go on vacation? Go on vacation. Like if you own a pet snake or you own 10. You know what I mean? It's easy to do. Very little upkeep, and they're just beautiful. And they're very calming, as much as snakes are vilified so much.
Right.
They're one of the most calming creatures on the planet. because, you know, when a snake is on you and it's just moving, it really will calm you down.
It's like a little mini massage almost.
Almost. Yeah. I mean, we have friends that, you know, I remember the first time, you know, they would see one of my snakes or whatever, and they would hold them. They were just mesmerized, you know. And so there's so much more work we can do. It is an uphill battle because, like I said, you know, they are vilified everywhere pretty much. But, you know, as long as we do our job and, you know, present them properly. And that's, you know, it's funny, whenever I do a show, people will come on and go, well, you don't look like a snake breeder. I said, well, what's a snake breeder look like? You know, and so I think, you know, our job is to educate and to present the most beautiful animals on the planet, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So earlier tonight, you mentioned you were gonna do this until you were 75. So think about 10 years out. So have you started thinking about like what the next 10 years looks like for you in terms of like, are you gonna wind your connection, not your connection, but your collection down to like just a few animals? Like, what's that kind of like exit plan gonna look like for you?
Yeah, I'd like to do 50 to 60 clutches a year. And it all be just visuals. And also, you know, I'm going to be at a point where I'm like, yeah, I don't need to keep that. I've got the ingredients to make it. I'll just, you know, keep putting that stuff out. Whereas a lot of the really, really good stuff you never see made available. You know, so, I mean, you know, one of the things, when you stop doing something, you lose your purpose. And I mean, there's all kinds of things I want to do, like travel and stuff, but we do that. I'd like to do more of that, you know, as time goes. And I think a smaller collection would help in that department. But there are other factors, you know. I have a friend that helps me out, and his wife is waiting for a kidney transfer and transplant. And so we're hoping any day, you know, that happens. And so I don't want to go anywhere, you know, because of that. But, you know, it's going to be kind of like buckle up, because you ain't seen anything yet. I know what's coming. I know what's coming.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when you hit 75, are you gonna sell a bunch of stuff, or are you still gonna be like producing like a significant amount of clutches? Because like even 50 or 60, that's more than twice what I've done in like one single year. So that's still a significant amount to be producing. When you get there, are you gonna cut down on the number of clutches even more? Like, what's that gonna look like for you?
I'll probably just jump right out. I think, you know, there's gonna come a time. I mean, I've got plans of, you know, building massive outdoor gardens as far as vegetables. I mean, we've got massive outdoor gardens right now, but, you know, it's all flowers and hostas. It's very tropical for Canada anyways, the way we've tried to make it. It's kind of, we were inspired by Thailand. That's what this backyard did.
Okay.
Right. But, you know, I want something to do. You know, you're not going to catch me drinking a coffee and reading the newspaper. The newspaper is just full of negativity. I don't need to be reminded of all the negative things that exist in the world. I want to surround myself with beautiful things. I might, you know, breed 20 clutches or 10 clutches. I don't know. We'll see. But I think I'll always have my, you know, foot in the door.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Just taking it down a few notches, but that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you'll definitely miss it.
Oh yeah.
I can, yeah. So definitely keep.
I've been in other things too that I was very big into, and basically, closed the chapter, closed the book on those things too, and moved on to other things. But all the things I was in before, I would do for about 10 years. Well, this is 25. This January will be 25 years that I've been in this. So that's a long time for me to be in something.
Yeah, quarter of a century.
Yeah.
Congrats to you on hitting that milestone.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm going to produce a snake with 25 genes. That's yeah. And help me identify it, by the way.
Maybe one of the genetic shed testers can help by that time.
Maybe.
He can break it down.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Mark, this has been an amazing show. I really appreciate you coming out, chatting it up with us tonight, telling us some good stories, dropping a lot of gems. Didn't expect nothing less. So I really appreciate you coming through and blessing the show.
Thank you. I appreciate being invited. It's always a pleasure.
Sir. Yes, sir. And definitely, hopefully one day we can get you back on the show again. And I appreciate everyone stopping through the night. Chat has been packed all night long. So really appreciate y'all showing some love. If you hadn't hit that like button already, make sure you hit that like button. Definitely, if you aren't subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button and Hulk smash that notification bell. We've had a wonderful show tonight. Mark, again, thank you so much. We're going to call it quits for tonight. For Clutch Conversations, I am Mike. The lovely lady behind the scenes is Takara. Thank y'all for coming out. Be blessed. Peace.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
I step up in the spot, they know the deal. Chillin' with that thrill. From the bottom to the top, I'm the king of the hill. Still eyes on me, feel the heat, it's a thrill feel. Got that shine in my hand, man, it's giving them chills. Still they wanna taste, they wanna see what's in my sleep. Believe, got that fire in my grip. Yeah, they need the fiend. No counterfeit, no tricks, just the realest thing. Pure and uncut, got them down, dropping to your knees, freeze. It's that glass, baby, crystal clean, pristine. Make you wanna dive deep like you living in a dream. Got them hooked on the vibe like an addicted fiend. This that glass, baby, you know what I mean. In the night it glows, whole place lit, can't quit. Every eyes on me, they can handle this shit. Hit, feel the rush, feel the push, yeah, it's too legit bliss. Once you get a taste, ain't no way you'll quit this. Pure like the rain, cold like the snow. Yo, they crave for the touch, yeah, they wanna know. Dope, what's the secret mojo? Got that perfect glow, you know. Take a hit of this life, let your worries go slow. That glass, baby, crystal clean, pristine. Make you wanna dive deep like you living in a dream. Got them hooked on the vibe like an addicted fiend. This that glass, baby, you know what I mean. They come from miles around just to get a glimpse. Whispering in the dark, making deals with pimps. Got that high grade shit, make the whole world limp. Glimpse, I'm the dealer of dreams, call me the main event set. Ain't no fakes, ain't no lies, it's the realest deal. Chill, got them looking for that glass, yeah, they love to feel real. I'm the plug, I'm the source, got that golden seal. This that glass, baby, now you know it's real. This that glass, baby, crystal clean, pristine. Make you wanna dive deep like you living in a dream. Got them hooked on the vibe like an addicted fiend. This that glass, baby, you know what I mean. In the end, they all come back, craving more and more. Once you get a taste, ain't no closing that door. I'm the king of the game, hear the lion roar. This that glass, baby, and it's what you're here for. In the end, they all come back, craving more and more. Once you get a taste, ain't no closing that door. I'm the king of the game, hear the lion roar. This that glass, baby, and it's what you're here for.
Subscribe, follow, rate, and then review.